Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another edition of BadgerBlitz TV. I am Jake Kokorowski, senior writer at BadgerBlitz.com. Of course, your Rivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics on the recruiting trail, on the football field, and of course on the basketball court. Big game coming up, I-94 rivalry. On Saturday, we're talking basketball today. Wisconsin hosts Marquette. It's 11:30 a.m. time, and whatnot. It's a big time matchup, of course. Rivalry game, you could call it that for sure. A lot of fun. Bringing on, we want to do a Q&A here on BadgerBlitz TV. Of course, good friend of the site, good friend of mine, Ben Steele from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Ben, thanks for making time. And once again, let me just ask: this is a rivalry game, right?
Absolutely. I love this game. I look forward to this one every year. It doesn't get talked about a lot as far as, the national big name brand rivalries in college basketball, but it's always fun. I look forward to this every year. So yeah, it's going to be fun being back in person too for the first times in a couple of years. Going to have a full crowd at the Kohl Center, I'm sure. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So, I guess, now with a new head coach, Shaka Smart, obviously people know him, was, in-state native, before his stops on the college basketball, trail. Where have you seen the biggest steps, that, it's still early on and Marquette comes in 7-1, but what are some just things you've seen either culture-wise or just on the court that are making an impression for them, winning 7 out of their first 8 games?
Yeah, it's absolutely on the defensive end of the court. And this goes hand in hand with Shaka's culture. The biggest thing that Shaka talks about every press conference, anytime you talk to him about anything basketball related, he wants deflections. He wants activity on the defensive end. Everyone knows that, Shaka's teams are famous for getting after you full court and pressing you. It's a little bit different than the VCU days. It's not quite as physical because you can't really play that way these days as far as the game's officiated. But Shaka puts a lot of emphasis on activity on the defensive end. He wants 32 deflections every game. That's his biggest thing. He talks about this all the time. You'll see it during the game on Saturday. There's a student manager that keeps track of deflections, and he holds up a sign during the timeouts, during the media timeouts. He holds it over the team huddle, say like 14 deflections, 15 deflections, and they try to get 32. That seems to be the magic number in all their analytical research, that there's something like, Shaka said, like 110-1 or something when they get 32 deflections. One was like an outlier shooting game by an opponent. And yeah, that's the kind of aggressive culture that Shaka is instilling at Marquette. He's got all these little pet phrases that you'll hear him talk about. If you're at the press conference Saturday after the game, he'll mention a couple of these. He'll say, lost in the fight, play with a level of violence, those kind of things. Like they're all written all over the practice court. This is something he's brought in this year. So yeah, it's different. It's a very aggressive, very tough-minded kind of mindset that he's brought.
Now let's take a look at a couple things for Marquette in terms of, we mentioned the 7-1 record. KenPom ranking as of Thursday, 80. They have defeated 3 teams within KenPom's top 70 in terms of Illinois, Mississippi, West Virginia. They've scored 80 or more points in 4 of 8 games. And one thing that we've noticed, looking at KenPom, the number 2 in the nation in average possession length and number 3 in adjusted tempo. Other basic stats, I guess you could call them, averaging almost 76 points per game, allowing just over 68 per contest, shooting 44.5% from the field and allowing 41.5% for opponents. 3-point percentage right now, about 32.7%. And they're, the free throws, about almost 71% from the line there. Last couple things, rebounds per game, 37.3. Allowing 38 points, so they're being out rebounded by just almost about 1 per contest. Assists per game, 16. Turnovers, just under 15. And they average 5.1 blocks per game. Ben, with that, I guess, with how Marquette approaches the games and whatnot. Just let's go back to the 3 wins against those top 70 KenPom teams. What were the keys that allowed Marquette to pull off those wins against those higher ranked programs?
Yeah, with all those numbers that you rattled off, the most interesting one is the pace, right? That Marquette plays really fast on offense. They want to put up a lot of shots. And a lot of that is, with the press, creating turnovers so they can get out in transition and score against, disadvantaged defense, the scrambling defense. That's the way Marquette wants to play it. Marquette really struggles in kind of the half-court settings. And you see the shooting numbers. It's not a really good three-point shooting team. It has some of the young players, some freshmen that we could talk about, have some potential to grow in this season. Where I think that's an area where this team can definitely get better at. That I could see a road to improvement at getting better at. So with the big wins that they've had, it's all those factors have kind of come together. Just creating a lot of turnovers, wearing down your opponent with the press. They get sloppy, they get sped up, they turn the ball over. Marquette turns those into easy baskets. They get the confidence going, and then the shooting gets going after that. That's kind of been their recipe for those wins.
And then you talk about some of the players. One player many Badger fans will know from the Maryland days, Darryl Morsell. He's averaging 15.3 points per game, just over 3 assists per contest, shooting almost 47% from the field and nearly 44% from 3-point range. So he's going to be someone to watch. Forward Justin Lewis leads the team in points, 16.1 points per contest, 8.9 rebounds per game. And he himself was shooting almost 47% from the field. And then, of course, Tyler Kolek, 8.1 points per game, 5 assists per contest. I guess, those are just some of the big names I got off the stat books, but just in your eyes, Ben, who do you think could give the Badgers trouble on Saturday?
Yeah, Darryl's going to be a key player to watch. His first 4 games at Marquette, he scored 21 or more points. The last 4 games, the scoring's been down, but whenever Marquette gets in those offensive ruts in the half court, they give the ball to Darryl, and he has to create something. So he's a key player to watch Saturday, and he's the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year last season at Maryland. I'm sure he's going to see a lot of time on Johnny Davis. They're both like 6'5", same size. Darryl will get after you on that end. He's a very serious player, and so that's to me that's the biggest matchup for Saturday. Justin Lewis, he's having a big breakout season. I've always been bullish on him. He's just, if you see him in person, he's just like, his physical talent is unbelievable to see. He's 6'7", he's got long arms, just huge mitts, his hands. And he's just starting to put the game together. The game's starting to slow down for him, and he's playing a little differently. I know UW fans don't need me to remind them about Justin's tip-in at the buzzer last year, but he's playing a little bit differently this year. Shaka's got him more facing the basket on the perimeter, so he's kind of looking for those mismatches because he's like, with those physical talents, he's very strong, but he handles the ball really well. He's still not a great shooter yet, although you see the potential there. With his form looks good. He's got good rotation on his shot. The numbers just aren't there yet for him, but he's starting to get his confidence in all manner of his shots. Like, he's a good offensive rebounder. He's a good mid-range shooter. His 3 ball is coming along. So it's gonna be a tough matchup for the Badgers. I've been trying to think of like who they would put on him, like Tyler Wall maybe. So that could be one to watch. Justin could maybe overpower him a little bit. So we'll see that. Tyler Kolek, like you mentioned, he's the guy that handles the ball most of the time for Marquette. Really good passer, especially out of pick and roll situations. Real tough kid. Not the most athletic guy, but he, gives it his all. He's struggled a bit shooting, like a lot of the Marquette players have, but he's got potential to grow. He's one of those players I was thinking about when I was talking earlier about a guy that could boost those 3-point numbers. He played at George Mason last year. Was a good shooter there, but he was playing off the ball there. He's playing more different kind of role in this offense. So I think he's kind of learning a new way to play. So yeah, those three guys that you mentioned, those are going to be the three guys I'm going to be watching most Saturday.
And then going into that, what you've already talked about, I think some of these points, but what are the key? What are going to be the keys for Marquette to pull off a win on the road? Against the Badgers on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, this is the classic tempo battle. Marquette wants to speed you up. Wisconsin takes care of the ball like, all the Badgers teams of the last 15, 20 years, low turnover rates. It's funny. I was just coming back from Marquette availability. And I asked Shaka, what do you do against a team that takes care of the ball and is a methodical offense that moves the ball side to side like Wisconsin does? And Shaka said, well, we're not going to press. And I was like, what? And he's like, oh, I'm just kidding. No, man, we're gonna press. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. So it's just gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. He got me though. He got me for a second.
That's fantastic. Ben, what else do you got going on coming up from the Journal Sentinel side in terms of coverage for this game, and then and everything else for Wisconsin and Marquette?
My colleague Jeff Petrikas will have stories about the Badgers. Talked to Justin Lewis and Darryl Morsell today, so we'll have a story coming in on what they're looking forward to in this game. We'll do a story about just all the matchups, kind of breaking down that, bigs and wings and guards and coaching and bench and all that, looking at that. That'll probably be published during the day tomorrow and in the paper on Saturday, and be ready to go.
Awesome. And Ben, we appreciate you making time for us today. I may not be at the game on Saturday, but next time you're in town, first round on me.
Absolutely, man. We'll hit up Culver's for sure.
Oh, my brand. I appreciate you, my friend. Folks, that's Ben Steele from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Real quick, before we let you guys go, thank you guys for all these subscribe. We've been doing a lot of these cool Q&As, either beat writer Q&As or recruiting Q&As in the past week. Make sure you follow us on subscribe on YouTube. Hit that like button on if you're on your mobile device right below that video. Helps us grow this brand. We're trying to give you more consistent Wisconsin coverage here on YouTube. For that matter, like us on Facebook, search Wisconsin Badgers on BadgerBlitz.com for, and then on top of that, Badger_Blitz for Twitter. I'm Jake Okarowski. We'll see you guys coming up later this week. We got a lot more coming up with another recruiting spotlight. We got Joe Brunner coming on Thursday night too. So y'all take care. We'll see you soon.